Are you ready to apply some game logic? Visually, we have most of what we need and most of the functionality, but we don't have a working game. We have the word, we have it being displayed visually to the player. We also have clickable letters, and they only can be clicked once because we're removing the event listener after they get clicked. And because we've already appended them to output 2, we can select them and using document query selector, and we're doing a query selector all, we're going to select all the elements with a class of letter 2. So these are all the ones that we created earlier. As we were looping through the player solution, we created a bunch of divs there, appending them, because we need to have ability to loop through all of these letters to check to see if the letter that got clicked is going to match any of the letters that we have in our output. And if it is, then we want to write that in. So that's why we need to loop through those values. And we can do that within that handler function that we created. So taking our solution letter, looping through using for each, selecting the function, and this could also be letter if we wanted. Letter and inner HTML is not equal to the underscore. And if it's not equal to it, that means that there's a letter there. Calculate out the solution, set up a variable, and this is going to count how many letters the player has right. So as we loop through, and we need to write in the letters here. So it's not going to be just an underscore. We need to write in a letter actually in there. So let's do our check to see if the letter that the player selected, and we have that value in temp already. So checking to see if letter and my letter value. So remember over here, when we were building out that letter 2, we were hiding within the object a value of my letter, which equaled the letter of the output. So we can use that now and check that. And we need to turn it to uppercase so that they're all matching uppercase values. So it's a JavaScript function to uppercase that. And we're going to check to see if it's equal to temp. And if it is, then we know that the player got something right. So we need to update the inner HTML of that layer object. Or it could be inner text as well to temp. So let's see what happens now. So we hit start, and we know what our word is JavaScript. When I hit A, we see both of the A's fill out. J, V, S, and I think I know what the solution is. JavaScript, of course, very timely to be placed within our course. So JavaScript. So we got everything right, and we do have a counter of how many letters are correct. So that leads to the next part where we can provide some type of output for the player that's interacting with the content. So that's the next piece of logic that we need to add in. We need to be able to check to see if the players solved it, as well as more messaging to the player so they know what is happening during the gameplay. So that's still to come in the upcoming lesson. So now go ahead and add in the logic to check to see if the player selected the right letters.